What's going on, collectors? Welcome in to Ross Loves Cards. I hope y'all like what you're looking at. This is going to be my new logo going forward. I wanted to put it in a video to let you all get a chance to get accustomed to it. But you'll be seeing this from, well, whenever I decide to make that my new logo. You guys will know if you see that logo, I need to click on it and watch this. If you'd like, I sure appreciate it. But today, I'm going to be talking about having memories from cards. It's been it's been 7 years ago. It was 2017 for Christmas that year. Well, I guess it was Christmas 16. We bought my wife's grandparents St. Louis Cardinals tickets. We bought 4 tickets, 2 for us and 2 for them. We was going to take them to a St. Louis Cardinals game that next year. And we picked a game in August. Why did we pick August? I guess just because we like to be hot. I don't know if we was waiting for vacation time to build back or what we was doing. But we picked a game in August to take her grandparents to. And he was 79 at the time. And it was his first time getting to go to a ball game. But we took some pictures while we was there. His first time going to a St. Louis Cardinals ball game. He was a St. Louis Cardinals fan as long as he could remember. But we got to take him, and here's a picture of my wife's grandpa and my wife's grandma, Dwayne and Juanita Cobb. But anyways, you can see them right there, just to get a picture of them outside the stadium. We'll say, right here, Cardinals team store, you guys are, it's a top-notch place to go. Only place I seen may have been cooler that I've been to was the White Sox. I think the White Sox, of course, it's separate from the stadium a little bit, I believe, but where it had 2 levels. But anyways, I'm not a huge Cardinals fan, but I seen more than one hat. I thought, you know what, I'm thinking about buying that hat. The Royals definitely need to step their game up. But anyways, cool team store. We was in there looking around, probably trying to cool off a little bit. That was the day that Mark McGwire got inducted in the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. So we got to see Mark McGwire on stage for that. A fun day. We went to Bogart's before we went down there. It's a barbecue place just down the road in Soulard. But went to Bogart's, ate a good meal, and then got there. Then we got in the team store, and Abby and her grandma was off talking. Abby's my wife's name, if I hadn't mentioned that. And me and Dwayne was standing there, and I was looking at hats and looking at different shirts and jerseys and stuff. And I said, Dwayne, who's your favorite Cardinal? And he said, you know, Ross, I don't know. That'd be hard to say. I think back over the years, and he's just kind of looking around. He said, you know what? If I could think of somebody, it'd be Bob Gibson. What I thought was neat by that, you can't probably see it from this far out picture, but this picture of them was right in front of the Gibson statue. My wife didn't know that. You tell them, hey, stand by the Gibson statue. But, you know, after seeing that picture, I thought, man, that's cool. And I remember when he told me that in 2017. He told me that, and I think it's like the next day or two, I thought, you know what, I ought to buy him a rookie card or a baseball card. As far as, you know, just before I was back into cards. And I seen how high they were, and I thought, there's no way I can afford to pay that type of money for that type of card. Of course, looking now, I'm sure it was a lot less than they were now, but let's face it, you know, probably 8 years ago, I was a lot broker than I am now. So I didn't buy that card. I never did buy him a card of Bob Gibson while he was living. But I told my wife, I said, you know, I'd like to buy a card just for me and her to have, to remember that day in St. Louis, and remember that conversation with me and her grandpa. And anyways, we kind of went and we looked at I screenshotted all his mainstream Topps cards, and couldn't decide on which one we liked best. We got it narrowed down to 2 or 3, and, well, you've seen in the thumbnail, it's the 61. What's neat about this is the 61 is the year that he became a dad, too. My wife's mother was born in 61. So we got a 61 Bob Gibson. I've showed this card once before as my pickups from Boonville. I got this off of Jayhawker Mike. We was going through a drive-through last night, actually, and I was texting Mike, and my boy was sitting in the back seat behind me, and he said, "Dad, you texting Jayhawker?" And my wife said, "Do you not know he has an actual name? It's Mike." And he said, "I call him Jayhawker." So's Dad. So anyways, yeah, he's just going to be Jayhawker to Tate. But I bought this off of him. I actually found one online, and I was going to ask him what he thought about it, if this was a good deal or not. Because once my wife, decided she liked the 61, I was emotionally attached to that card, and when I get emotionally attached to a certain card, I don't have good sense on it. So I wanted Mike to look at it and see if I was crazy. He said, "You know what? I've actually got a 61 that I'd sell." And turned out it was in PSA. At that time, PSA is what I was collecting. But of course, we worked out a deal for the price. He gave me a great deal on it. And it's just a card that I will never sell. It's something that's just going to stay with me forever. Every time I look at this card, I can't help but think of Dwayne and how much of a good time we had. Like I said, he'd been a Cardinal fan. He was 79 that year. He'd been a Cardinal fan, we'll say, for almost 80 years, and I'm sure he wasn't a Cardinal fan his first year of his life. He don't remember. You know what I'm saying? But he was 79 and never been to a game. And when we was walking in, we first seen a glimpse of the field. My wife got a picture of him looking there. I was somewhere probably over here. And you could just see, he was just had joy on his face. You couldn't see it from this picture because it's pointed the other way. But he's just taking it all in. It's an amazing thing to see a professional ballpark for the first time. It's awing to see. It's kind of the feel of the air, the smell of the grass, the feel of the concrete walking in. You all know what it's like. And to see him experiencing that for the first time was something special for me. And then my wife, I took a picture of her and her grandparents there. And it was just a great day. It was a great game. Thinking back on that day, I was actually talking about this with her grandmother. I maybe forgot to share this. Abby's grandpa passed away this year in June. And, for, I guess, just shy of 14 years, I've been his grandson-in-law. For the past 7 years, I've been his pastor. And, it's been hard on everybody, losing Dwayne. He's one of them guys I've never seen upset. You see people, and you can say, well, that guy's always happy. Well, I know he's been troubled by things and concerned about things. Some things maybe, made him sad. He gets happy, is always telling jokes. But I've never seen him upset. I mean, things that would make me out there in the yard in the middle of the night pacing back and forth talking to myself or picking up rocks and seeing how far I could throw them, that type of mad. He never got that type of mad. I've been around him a lot, and You know, I was getting mad for him in a time or two. Yep, he's just sitting there just calm as can be. I remember after that game, funny the little things you remember. We went and ate, I can't remember, I think it was a Denny's. It may have been an IHOP, but I'm pretty sure it was a Denny's on the way home. It was a late night game. For some reason, I thought it would be a good idea to save money and not buy a hotel or 2 hotel rooms while we was up there and driving back. Yeah, anyway, so we went, after we left the game, we ate at Denny's, I'm pretty sure. Wherever it was, Abby's grandma wanted a vegetarian omelet. Because she liked all the vegetables and liked all the vegetables that was in it. And after the waitress left, she says, "Oh, you know, I wish that omelet would have had some meat in there." I was like, "Well, it's vegetarian. They don't have meat." And said, "Well, they should have an option that you want the vegetables and not the meat." But anyways, it's funny the things you remember. I also remember on that way, on the trip coming home, it was hot that whole day and evening. We'd ate, everybody was tired, I'm sure, and Dwayne was the only person that didn't fall asleep on the way home. Only problem was as I was driving, you know. I remember hearing a rumble strip and Dwayne saying, "Ross, are you okay?" And he'd reached over and grabbed the wheel and steered back, and I was like, "Yep." I was just acting like I wasn't asleep there, but he's sitting there calm the whole time, didn't shake me or anything, just kind of took care of the situation. That's just kind of who he was, you know. And thinking about that memory, you know, of taking him to his first game, seeing him there in front of the stadium, being there talking with him in the team store and seeing him see that field for the first time, you know, it's just something I'll never forget. And you know, each time that I look at this card, each time I look at that card, I think about Dwayne. I think about the good memories we had on that trip. So I just wanted to share this video to share why some cards are more important to me than others. And I hope you have some cards that are more important to you than others as well. You all have a good rest of your week.